Failure Cup has finally come to a close, and we have been crowned a new champion for set 9. Now, I'm not going to spoil exactly who it is just yet, because we are going to be VOD reviewing the final lobby of Failure Cup. In particular, we are going to be VOD reviewing Dish Soap's perspective. Now, the reason why is because I think this is one of the most beautifully played games of TFT. I feel like I've said this every single time I'm VOD reviewing like a Dish Soap game, but this game, he played so well. He played so well given the circumstances that he was thrown into, and I think there's just a bunch of shit to take away from this that I hope you guys can all appreciate and enjoy. Let's get on to today's video. Okay, so here we go. We are inside of the final lobby of Failure Cup, the final game of the entire tournament. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of context, Dish Soap is actually, it's possible for him to win out the entire tourney, but in order to do so, he actually has to outplace Kurum pretty hard here. So he'd have to go like first or second here, and Kurum would have to ball 4, and then it's very possible for Dish Soap to win out. So in this one and final game, Dish Soap needs to go first or 8th, basically. He needs to try to run a board that's gonna basically secure him this like first or second placement. So he's looking at boards like reroll multicasters, maybe like a high roll reroll Noxus, boards like these, maybe even like a 9-5 supremacy, stuff like this that he really needs to find if he wants to win out the tournament. This is, again, a little different compared to how you would play solo queue, because solo queue, you would just play whatever you hit. You're okay with going 4th, going 3rd, even going 5th or 6th. You have to try to salvage really, really bad spots. That's okay. But again, like I said, in this tournament, he really needs to go first or second if he wants to win out and get that free invite into regionals to get into worlds. And we'll see what happens. If you have, by the way, if you did not catch the winner of Failure Cup, I won't spoil it for you. Don't worry. We'll get to the very end. So this is a very, very suspenseful video. Here we are playing in Scuttle Puddle, so you know we're getting a bunch of resources. So a lot of rerollers are going to be found in this lobby. Kale reroll inside the Scuttle Puddle is very, very strong. Any reroll comp in general, reroll Zed, reroll Darius, any of the just meta reroll boards are things that we can be looking at during this portal. Now, we are running the Orin Legend here. We are given Latent Forge, Cutting Corners, and Unified Resistances. Just to talk about the Orin Legend real quick, Orin has been popping up as sort of like this, sort of the meta legend, if you will, alongside Poro, but not really. It definitely is more Orin, because whenever you run Poro, you can definitely kind of low roll your augments. So even though you are given 6 options, it's definitely possible to low roll all 6 options. Having that little safety net here with Orin is actually kind of nice. So you'll see a lot of people, if not almost everybody in this lobby, is running Orin. You might see 1 or 2 Lee Sin legends as well, because Lee Sin is kind of okay right now, where you can actually play Lee Sin, and if you find a good Kale opener, you can actually take any of the Lee Sin augments, and it's actually kind of okay to play around. And I wouldn't say you can hard force it, but you can definitely play around it if you find a good spot for it. Personally speaking, I've actually been running Lee Sin as my legend, and I've actually been finding a decent amount of success with it. I actually like it more than Orin, but it's up to you. Try it out if you think it's fun. I will say though, the more Lee Sin legends there are, the worse it gets. So it's definitely not great if you're playing into a bunch of Lee Sin players. Anyways, let's talk about the augments here. Latent Forge, Cutting Corners, Unified Resistances. Now, his board at the moment is not the strongest. He is obviously going to reroll on the Cutting Corners one, because it's just not a very good augment here. But here he has Casio pair, was it Cho'Gath pair, and like a couple of like kind of units, like nothing that great. He does have a Hodge Slam that's available to him. Also maybe a Shojin, depending on which way he wants to lean into. But Unified Resistances is not always kind of the best option here. It's a bit of a gamble. You kind of want to take Unified if you know you're going to be win streaking here. So Unified isn't exactly the best here. You could try to aim for a lose streak angle with Latent Forge, and that's pretty acceptable from the spot too. Both are fine. If you want to gamble a little bit, and because again, he is trying to play for 1st or 8th, Unified, you could take it. Again, you're trying to gamble here to try to hit that 1st place here. There's going to be a little bit of luck involved in here, and depending on whatever he hits, both are acceptable options here. He is scouting the lobby, trying to see what everybody else is playing, and I think he decides on Unified Resistances, and he actually ends up getting 2 upgrades out of his shop, which is really nice. Got level to 4 here, and he actually has a pretty decent board. He has the Unified Resistances with Cho'Gath 2, Cassiopeia 2, and we're just going to chill on this board, obviously backlining everything to get the most out of this unified value. I think his reasoning for not going with Latent Forge and loose streaking is because there are a couple loose streakers already in this lobby. He can't really guarantee the loose streak here. Plus, on top of that, the people who are trying to win are really, really strong. So he, like, loose streaking is just definitely like kind of the worst option to go here. He also does not slam anything just yet because he is trying to still figure out his direction. You do have Hodge, but if you go Hodge Sword, you're definitely leaning 80. And if you go Shojin Open Crit Glove, you're definitely leaning AP. So from this spot though, we do have a Talia. So it is possible to think about maybe like double trouble Talia, or maybe like a double Talia board. You don't necessarily need double Talia, or rather double trouble to Blade double Talia, but it's definitely a nice have. It's a nice thing to have, really. We do see that he doesn't slam the Shojin here, so he's definitely thinking more towards AP in this spot. And again, really solid stuff. Really strong board. He's just basically cruising through all of stage 2. He did, again, baby level to 2-2 because level to 5 on 2-2. Sorry. It's been a minute since I've done one of these commentaries, you know? It feels like it's been a while. It's been like 3 days, but that's a long time to me. But anyways, sitting in a really good spot here, though. He does play his strongest board here. You did notice, if you were staring at the screen, though, he did try to, like, tech into, like, his multicasters to see, like, if it was strong or not. Turns out he just doesn't think it is, so he can still make 10 regardless, but whichever way he ends up going. So he just decides to just keep playing his strongest board and not exactly tech into the strategist just yet. So going into carousel now, Rod is obviously the best thing we can take here. Again, we are leaning AP here. Shojin, JG, Guard Breaker, these are all really good items here, but if we don't get them, any sort of AP item is fine. Tiers are good too, especially with multicasters. You kind of want like infinite tiers. Vel'Koz likes blue buff, Sona likes Shojin. You know, Vow is actually a decent item on set. So these are things that we want to consider, and again, we are definitely leaning towards multicasters here, especially now that we've picked up the Vel'Koz here. Oh, sorry, now he throws into the multicasters, sees that it's not as good, and then whatever. You get the idea, sorry. I mean, in case it isn't obvious, I definitely watched this game beforehand. So as we can see here, again, there is a consistency guy trying to just 5-loss it, and that is DQA. And like I said, definitely the best decision was the Unified over the Latent Forge because loose streaking here was just probably not an option. So I'm actually going to 4x speed this because there isn't really much to talk about. He's just playing his strongest board. He's cruising really, really hard, and we're definitely leaning into multicasters. We've already talked about all of this. He doesn't actually slam the Hodge just yet because, again, we do want this to be like a blue buff for our Vel'Koz. So we definitely have, like, better tier items you can make over a Hodge. Also, because Sona ends up getting the Demacia items most of the times when you're playing multicaster, you're usually trying to play around like a JG Shojin or Guard Breaker Shojin, and then you get a Demacia item, so you only get to really itemize 2 items onto her, and itemizing a Hodge as your second item is not that great. So here, we're going to play it at 2x speed now. We do get a Rod, a Cloak, a Hodge, and we are going to roll down here on 3-1. Now, why are we rolling down on 3-1 here? I'm going to play at regular speed. We're rolling on 3-1 here because multicasters in particular, you need to spike on 3-1 hard, especially on a 5-win streak here like we've streaked at the beginning. We're basically sending it down because 2-star multicasters, 4 multicasters with our frontline being Swain and like it's sometimes Tarek, it's sometimes J4 if you get lucky, but usually these 2-star multicasters are enough for us to get enough of a streak going that you can streak all throughout stage 3. Usually, Sona 2, Vel'Koz 2, you are like chilling throughout stage 3 and you're able to streak out pretty easily. Unfortunately, he doesn't actually find the multicasters he's looking for and he actually loses a streak. He's 10 gold now. This is a detrimental loss. This is really, really bad because not only did he roll down to 10, not find the units he's looking for, he's also in a position where he just has no money to recover from. So he just has to sit on this board and just like suck it up. That's all that he can do from this spot, which really, really sucks. This basically already is like, now he's just playing for top 4. He can't play for first anymore. So it's basically like really, really fucked. So we're given error 3-2 augments. What the fuck? We're given our 3-2 augments, small forge, Pandora's, and bronze ticket. Pandora's is okay. Again, we don't have a lot of money to be working with, and we don't have, like, cause again, we sent it down. So Pandora's bench isn't that great because now our economy is basically never recovering if we pick up Pandora's bench because we need to spend extra money to throw units onto our Pandora's bench, and it's just not that great. Also, it does take up a lot of slots on our bench, so it's not that it's not helpful. You have less room to work with. If we had like 50 gold, Pandora's bench is definitely way more takeable from this spot. But again, no economy to work with, can't do it. Same reason why bronze ticket is not great from this spot. We don't have a lot of money to utilize value out of the bronze ticket. We basically be playing down an augment if we were to take bronze ticket here. So both of these are not that great. Definitely going to reroll middle and right side. We get harm assist, late game specialist, I believe. Both of these not very good. So small forge is the augmented choice, right? Makes a lot of sense. Here we pop the anvil, we take a rod out, makes a lot of sense here. Do prioritize the JG here. And so far our board, again, it's not looking that great, right? We are playing multicasters, it's whatever. This is sort of the part. This is the turning point, by the way. This is when I was watching this VOD live, or not the VOD, but when I was watching this live, rather, because I was watching the tournament in real time. I remember this. This is the point. This is the point of the game where I said that he's never making it out. Can you guess why? It's because he scouts the lobby, and this is what he sees. He sees this vanilla XD guy is also running multicasters, and not only is he running multicasters, he's running multicasters with basically the exact same board as Dish Soap, but he has 50 gold. Dish Soap is sitting on like 15 gold. And he rolled all the way down, and yet they have like the exact same board, and Vanilla's actually sitting on a duplicator. So when I saw this, I was like, how the fuck is Dish Soap ever recovering from this spot? This is where, like, the top of the NA ladder, or really just top of any ladder, like, these top challenger players really shine in their element. Obviously not in this exact moment, because in this exact moment, you might notice, in case you haven't noticed yet though, there's no game audio. I actually muted the audio because, two reasons. One, because it kind of spoils what happens, so I wanted to keep it muted, but also, because, Dish Soap is raging. He's tilted out of his mind right now. And it was very loud. This is like my second or third take doing this commentary, and Dish Soap is like, he's basically screaming at this point. Like, he's so pissed off because he's so close to winning the championship in the tourney. But not only did he not find his streak that he needed for stage 3, he also was hard contested for this line that even though he scouted all of stage 2, trying to make sure that nobody else was running multicasters, he ends up getting contested anyways by this vanilla dude. And it's just a very tilting situation to be in. He's now at a 3 loss where he's supposed to be at a 3 win, or technically an 8 win because he would have continued his streak here. And the spot is fucking terrible to play from. So I think he's raging. If I remember correctly, he raged from 3-2 all the way to like 3-6. And then he like finally like sort of like recollects himself and he's like, okay, how do I play the game? So again, if it were me in this spot though, I'm just saying I am screaming as well. And I'm also just like, I'm tilted out of my mind. I would just FF. I don't know if I would FF on the spot. I mean, you can't because it's a tournament. But if it were like solo queue, I'd be really close to FFing at this point because I would be like tilted out of my mind and I'd just be like, okay, maybe I can play 4/4 at best. But with multicasters, in particular with this line, you may or may not know this, but this line really, like, if you have 2-star Sona, 2-star Vel'Koz, 2-star Taliyah, 2-star Teemo, right? Basically your entire board's 2-starred, you're at level 7. You are stable until 4-5 at best. And then you were just lose streaking and you were bleeding out until you hit your 3 costs, right? Or rather your 3 stars. But there's a problem here, right? One problem, the big one, being that a lot of people already hit. There's a Z3 player we just played into. There's another guy who just hit Swain 3. It was the vanilla guy, by the way, the guy who was contesting us. And another dude hit Kale 3 already, and their Kale board is online. The tempo is very, very high in this lobby. We are bleeding out fast. And then on top of that, with multicasters, even with 2-star and everything, again, 4-5 hits, you are just bleeding down, 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 down. And as we can see here, he's already bleeding down. So forget 4-5, it's 3-1 we're just bleeding out from. So we're like bleeding out like a stage and a half earlier than we're supposed to be, which is a really, really bad spot to be in. So it's so hard. It's so difficult to recover from this spot. It's like you need a miracle almost to recover from this spot, right? And what is the move, right? We know that we're hard contested for multicasters, so we have to pivot, right? We can't even think about trying to contest this line. We're sending on one Sona, 2 Vel'Kozes. And our items are actually kind of okay for the line, but it's not that great, right? So here, for 1, we are going to roll down. We're going to try to start looking for pivots, right? We're going to start picking up any units that we can find, any forecasts that we can find, any, like, 4-star AP carries, the Gwens, the Kallistas. We actually skip over the first one here because we're maybe thinking about still playing around this multicaster line. But we need to really start thinking about pivoting here. We are sitting on 4 multicasters. Everything's upgraded. Our board should be technically actually pretty stable here. But again, the tempo of this lobby is super, super high. So it's actually very likely that we are not going to be stable from the spot. He is sitting at 31 gold here because now his economy is technically restored. Because now, I mean, playing in terms of like a regular pacing lobby, this board would be okay. And you can try to go 8 instead and then pivot at level 8. The problem is, though, again, the tempo's too high. It's too high, and even though his board, everything's basically upgraded, he's still losing. So he's in a really, really tough cookie. He's in a tough spot. You know what I'm trying to say here. Anyways, Overcharged Mana Front, Capricious Forge, and Capricious Sun. I mean, these are, our augment choices. Job Well Done is probably the way to go here. Overcharged Mana Front is not that great. Again, we are trying to play for first place. Our back's against the wall. It's first or 8th. We have to play first or 8th. It's for our tourney. It's not like for LP. It's straight up for tourney. For LP, if this was a solo queue game, Overcharged Mana Front is actually a very viable spot, or a very, very viable option. You basically just pivot into 6 Sorks and you try top 4, right? But again, this is tourney. We're trying to play for first, so Overcharged Mana Front is not the way to go. 6 Sork vertical is just not a very strong board to play around. So we're not going to take Overcharged Mana Front. We are not going to take Capricious Forge because that is just an RNG augment. And Job Well Done is sort of the only option that we have here. Tactical Superiority is actually okay. And Long Distance Pals. LDP, this augment is so fucking strong. It's so disgustingly strong. It's basically busted. You take it every single time. There's very little instances you'd rather take a different augment than LDP, but LDP is just one of those augments that you just have to take. the stats that you gain are just way too high. It's getting hard nerfed next patch. And it's getting harder for a good reason. LDP, you just get insane stats on 2 of your carries. It's just way too strong. He is sort of flip-flopping between tactical superiority, but it's only because like you can maybe play into Azir, but it's really, really hard. And even then, if you play into Azir, you are not trying to play for first. So again, we are rolling down again, trying to find whatever we can find. We find like this Ahri, this Bel'Veth that we were never playing on our board because we are leaning AP, so it was very good to sell it here. And again, we're rolling. We're trying not to break 10, but we're really just trying to find and squeeze out as much money as we can while still trying to roll down and hit some units. So, you know, we're still sitting at 15 gold. It's not the best, but, you know, these are what we have. We have a Gwen one. We have a Kai'Sa one. We have, like, this Nasus pair. We have, like, an Ahri one. Maybe we get really lucky, find an Ahri 2 or something. But, again, these losses are close. Our board is not completely stable, but it's still, like, enough to get like kind of okay losses, and we're still like kind of cruising, like not great, but it's okay. Find the drive into, and again, we're still really trying hard not to break 10 here, but again, we're just trying to find like any 2-star 4 cost, any 2-star 5 cost that we can play around. We are rolling on 7, so any 2-star 5 cost from this spot is super high roll, and it would be really, it would basically save our game. Like an RA2, and then we slowly pick, like, you know, pick into Ionia. It's very possible from the spot, but it's only if we hit the RE2, right? Other than that, it's basically impossible. Again, another 2-unit loss. We're taking really good losses here, but it's still really hard for us to stabilize. We're down to 27 HP. On the carousel, we are sitting already on 1 Senna, so actually sitting on the Senna pair is nice, plus we get a Warmogs for a front line. We do have enough items already for our carry, whatever carry we end up managing to hit, so definitely want to focus a little bit more on the tank items here and try to get 3 tank items and 3 items for our carry. That's sort of the goal at the moment, right? We do have the Trojan Slam, the extra one that is already in there, but that's fine. Here, we do find a Gwen pair, and now we're zeroing out here because we're basically 2 life is sort of the limit. If you're down to 1 life, you're really struggling to make it by. But 27, we're basically 2 life, technically 3, but that's sort of the point where like you really need to start hitting your shit. So this is where we're like really just setting it down and trying to find whatever units we can find. We do have now a Kai'Sa pair and a Gwen too, and we just have to send it. This is the thing that we have to play into, because if we keep this multicaster board on, we are super fucked. So we're gonna we're gonna start pivoting here now. We're gonna play into this Gwen 2. We're gonna take out basically all of the multicasters. We're gonna keep the Teemo just in case for strategist. And this is kind of our board. We have a Senna, we have a Gwen 2, and we have a Kai'Sa 1. And actually, sorry, Kai'Sa 2. So this is actually kind of an okay spot to be in. We're going to start slamming our items now. We're going to try to put these items onto whoever we can. Kai'Sa definitely uses these items better than Gwen, so we're definitely going to throw these onto Kai'Sa instead of the Gwen. Even though, yes, we're only down to 2 challenger, it's still better than whatever the fuck we could have maybe done with like throwing these items onto Gwen. So this is just the best that we can do. Plus, we don't have Slayer. Gwen really starts to shine when you have a lot of Slayer in, and 0 Slayer, definitely not the way to go here. It's a hard decision to make, though. They're both very good units. So here we are going back into Scuttle. We finally get a dub, so we finally managed to somewhat stabilize. We do have a Taric 2 on our board, which is like it's just there for fun. We don't have Bastion and we don't have Sorkson, but we don't have anything better to throw onto our board right now, so that's kind of a problem. Maybe if we're able to go 8 and we're able to cruise all the way up there, we can maybe tech into this Ahri, but it's hard to say, you know? We're probably not going to be rolling anymore, because when you look at our board, right, by the way, it's just slamming items here. When you look at our board real quick, everything's basically upgraded. We have the Kai'Sa 2, we have a Gwen 2, we have a Taric 2, Nasus 2, Jarvan 2, and like we have a Senna 1 and like a Warwick 1, right? But like rolling on 7 just for a Warwick 2 makes no sense, and then we're like rolling to try to hit the Senna 2, even though we're paired on 7, doesn't make any sense, and we don't really want to spend any more money anymore. If we can go 8, we need to try to go 8. So we're not going to be rolling anymore, and we're just going to be sitting on this board. So now we're just sitting at this like Kai'Sa 2, Gwen 2 board, right? It's janky as fuck, but it's the best that we've got, right? And now we are just praying that we're going to have some like decent fight RNG, and then like hope that this board is enough to scrape by a top 4 at the very least. And maybe if we can get further down the line, maybe there's a world we can like pivot into like something a little stronger, maybe some level of a Shadow Isle Slayer board. Kai'Sa 2 is definitely not that great of a unit, especially if you're not playing into 6 challengers. We don't have enough to go level 8 just yet. Actually, maybe we do. We sell the Ahri. Yeah. So sell the Ahri. We go level 8 here. We definitely want to go 8 as soon as possible. We want to spark our board as quick as we can, because every win is vital. Every unit that we kill is vital. Even if we lose, we need to make sure that we kill as many as we can. So taking in this extra center on our board, it's not the best unit to throw onto our board. We still have the Taric 2 for fun, but it's the best that we got, right? You can maybe make an argument. You could have maybe teched onto like 2 Sork and like give this Taric like an identity. on our board, but RE1 with no items is just kind of a shitter, especially with no Ionia. Here we actually managed to hit the center 2 here, which is a bit of a high roll. Still have no way to really take off with this Taric here, so we're, again, still stuck with this random Taric 2 on our board, but we managed to find Zon Gunners, and we have Robotic Arm on our Jinx, but again, not the strongest of boards. We did unfortunately lose. It's looking like an 8th. But our board is still very, very strong. Like, don't sleep on the fact that we still have 2-star 4 costs and, like, for our carries. And not only that, but basically everything on our board is actually a really, really strong unit. 2-star Senna, 2-star Kai'Sa, 2-star Gwen, 2-star Nasus, 2-star Jarvan. Like, we are actually doing kind of okay. Here we actually get very lucky, find a challenger spat on the carousel. This actually opens up 4 challenger now, which is really, really nice for us, because now we can actually challenger spat our Senna, one of the best challenger spat item holders in the game, you know, disregarding Bel'Veth and Aatrox, but it's still really nice. Now we hear, speaking of Aatrox, actually hit the Aatrox here, which is really, really nice here. Gets Juggernaut in, and we get the Challenger spat our Senna. So now we're actually sitting at a decent spot. 6 Challenger might be on the horizon, but we can only take into 6 Challenger once we find a better replacement for this Nasus, for this Jarvan. This Jarvan, again, is also on our board for fun, because we don't have Strategist in. It's just there for our CC bot, but it's the best that we got. We're just trying to scrape by. And actually, we beat out into a top 5. Vanilla XD, the guy who's contesting us for multicaster, goes 7th. He goes 7th. So actually, it's just insane how we went from basically a turbo 8th into a secured top 5, which is absolutely nuts. As you may have noticed, he's actually holding on to the Gwen on his bench here as well, because he wants to try to maybe potentially go for Gwen 3 as a potential win condition, but it's hard to say. Here we're playing into an Action 3 board. Really, really difficult to play into, but surprisingly and somehow, like, this is just egregious fight RNG. DQA actually ends up going 4th, and Dish Soap secures a top 4. You can see chat on the left side going absolutely fucking insane, because again, this game was played so fucking well. It was played so fucking well that he was able to somehow, with a little bit of luck, scrape out a top 4 and, like, just play this board that is so janky, but it just managed to work itself out. Here we find the Warwick 2. We wanted a 3rd item for our Gwen, did not hit one, and unfortunately had to go Shojin onto the Senna. Not even that bad, to be honest, but we do really want, like, 3-item duo carries, but that's just not an option here. So unfortunately here we are playing into a Noxus reroller, Giga High Roller. There is no way, and also, by the way, our Gwen gets Zephyr here. There's nothing we can really do about it. It's just pretty unfortunate. There's, like, no way for us to win out from this spot. I mean, it's Darius 3 with Death Defiance IEBT. Even though, yes, we have a bunch of upgraded strong units, our traits are not the best. Our unit quality is decent, and it ends up being a bot. Not a bot 4, but a top 4, and actually a 3rd. Which is just fucking nuts. So the fact that Dish Soap was able to fucking realize that he was contested super early, stop himself from Omega tilting, and still secure a 3rd in this game is so fucking insane. Now, unfortunately, you might have noticed that the top 2 players are actually Kerm and Robin Songs. So, unfortunately, Dish Soap does not actually win out the tournament. I will keep the VOD going here, just, you know, in case you want to watch the rest of the game here. But there's not much more to talk about. I mean, it is Failure Cup. We should talk about who is winning here. But at the end of the day, Kerm, I believe, is auto-guaranteed is his first place here. So, or rather, he's auto-guaranteed the first place in the tournament. So we'll just watch the game at 2x speed, just out of respect, because this is Failure Cup. This was the last game of the match, and maybe we'll see, you know, maybe Kerm goes first, maybe he goes second, and Robin Song's actually on a win streak here, so it's very possible for Robin to win out. Robin, it looks like he's playing reroll Zed here with 6 Slayer, and then we're playing into Kerm, who has 6 Noxus with Darius 3, Katarina 3, Death Defiance, i.e. BT Gigabis. So, I mean, it's close. It's close. It's hard to say who really wins in this position. Robin Songs is 9. Kerm is still level 8. So if Kerm is able to somehow manage to go level 9, it's possible for him to win out. But I mean, again, these losses are actually really close. It's very possible for Kerm to, like, still maybe sneak out a win with some egregious, like, fight RNG. But there isn't really much to say here. Does find the blue buff on Carousel just to, like, you know, maybe throw it onto, like, this Scion here for, like, an instacast. Actually, no. He took Archangels. He took Archangels for his Echo. I guess. Oh, blue buff was taken by Robin Songs. So, yeah. I mean, honestly, we can probably put this at 4x speed. I'm telling you right now, like, this game, like, I actually don't remember who wins out the lobby. I kind of stopped watching after Dish Soap went 3rd. Especially because Kerm is sort of guaranteed his spot. Robin actually loses here. That's actually insane. We should probably play this at regular speed. I was doing, like, a watch party, trying to, like, watch this shit in real time. VOD reviewing in real time is snooze fest as fuck. Like, you need hosts and personalities to like make this shit like interesting and have like other energy to play off of. Because if you're just by yourself trying to do like a viewer watch party, this shit's fucking snooze fest. Yeah, I tried. I like did like a viewer party on like day 3, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to do this on day 4 because this is just not very fun without like a co-host. But hey, if you want a co-host, let me know because I'd be down. Like the next cup, if I'm not playing in it, I'm probably not. But if I am, that's gonna be hype. I'll VOD review my own shit. But if I'm not, which I'm probably not, I'd be down to co-host this shit. I mean, I said probably not. Nah, man. Nah, we're hitting. It's fine. This is gonna be the last fight. It's 9-8. I mean, Kerm managed to go 9, but he doesn't have anything that substantial that he was able to throw in here. I think he throws in the Jarvan instead of the Senna. I don't really fucking know. But, it's, like, not that impactful. I wouldn't be surprised if Robin wins here. I think Robin's 6 Slayer board with Z3 is probably just going to win out. It's Z3 with 6 Slayer, plus, like, a bunch of legendaries. It's really hard to say who really wins out here. It's going to be really, really close. Ari's able to get a cast out here with, like, the fucking, like, Giga Mana Reave. The fight's just over. You can't really tell. It's hard to say like what's going on, especially because both their health bars are red. But it looks like Robin wins out. And Kerm secures a second, and he wins the Freljord Cup. So, I hope this was helpful. Again, Dishsoap played this game like a fucking beast. I'm kind of sad. I was kind of rooting for Dishsoap to win out the tourney. I was also rooting for Soju, because Soju was actually playing really, really well. But, like, some of the placements throughout this entire tournament were absolutely insane. You had people who were going into the tournament averaging like 2.1, 2.2, 1.8. There's this one dude who went on, I think on day 3, he went like 1-1-2, 1-4-6 or something like that. Like that was his placements throughout the day. Fucking insane. Anyways, I hope this was helpful. Take care, guys, and happy climbing.